Let's cut across right now to Maharashtra. Finally, after spending days in jail, Navneet Rana and her husband have finally come out on bail. The reason that they spent 2 extra nights in jail, they were given bail 2 days ago, mind you, viewers, by the court. The reason that they spent 2 days extra was the paperwork wasn't quite done. Well, they've walked out of jail right now, the both of them. However, conditions have been put, a peculiar condition as well, which suggests that both Navneet Rana and her husband cannot speak to the press at all about the current context of their arrest and what has gone down in Maharashtra. They cannot hold any press conferences or say anything to the press at all. Other conditions also are the usual. A bail bond was signed between them for 50,000 rupees, 80,000 rupees, I beg your pardon, and other conditions given as well, that they cannot tamper with the evidence, which is quite the norm. The only peculiar point in all of this was the fact that both of them cannot speak to the press. All of this, viewers, is happening at a time when the BMC till yesterday was at the residence of Navneet Rana trying to identify whether there was illegal construction or not. The couple, Navneet Rana, an MP, her husband an MLA, have also been served notices by the BMC. To give our viewers perspective on the arrest, Navneet Rana and her husband were taken into arrest when they threatened to stand outside the residence of Uddhav Thackeray, the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, and chant the Hanuman Chalisa. This was in response to the Maharashtra government not adhering to the pressure or succumbing to the pressure put forth on the removal of loudspeakers from masjids and mosques. My colleague Pankaj is joining us. He's going to take us through the very latest. Pankaj, finally, both Navneet Rana and her husband are out on bail. They have strong conditions. One of them is not to talk to the press. Would you give us the latest on what you're witnessing right now? Okay. These visuals coming in, my colleague Pankaj, we're going to cut across to him in just a short while ago, but both Navneet Rana and her husband have been finally granted bail. Bail came for them, cleared on Monday. However, they had to spend 2 extra nights. She's waving out to the crowds and her husband also waving out to the crowds. But this is as much of an interaction that she can possibly have with the press. A strong condition has been put, which is that she's not going to say anything till the time she's out on bail to the press, or her husband will speak to the press in the current political context adhering to her case. Pankaj Upadhyay is now with us. Pankaj, will you take us through the latest?
Yes, Preeti, independent MP Navneet Rana has been granted bail, and she has now stepped out of the Byculla women's cell. And interestingly, her lawyer said that her health condition is not good, and it is likely that she will now be taken to the Lilavati hospital in Mumbai before she proceeds to her residence. The lawyers maintain that she has got a high blood pressure. She's got chest pain, she's got body pain as well. And remember, just a few days back, she had also said that she needs a CT scan, and then she had to be taken to the straight-run JJ hospital as well. But for now, the important news is that she has left the Byculla women's cell after being granted bail, after the paper formalities were completed. And for now, the lawyers maintain that instead of reaching her car residence, she will directly go to the Lilavati hospital for a checkup.
Pankaj, the fact is also that the BMC is right now, till yesterday, was at the Rana residence trying to ascertain what is the illegality of their construction. A notice has been served. What's the latest there? Because are the Ranas now going to go into with a confrontation with the BMC there, looking to demolish parts of their house?
जो रास्ता पकड़ गया तो वही रास्ता पकड़ चलो सीधा सीधा.
Well, as far as the Mumbai Municipal Corporation officials are concerned, they had sent their team.
Suburban area of Khar, and what the BMC officials had to say was that they were there to check whether any unauthorized construction had taken place in the house, and this was after the BMC said that they had received certain information that certain illegal work was done inside the house, and for that the permission from the BMC officials was not sought. A final report by the BMC officials is awaited, but the preliminary checks that are done by the officials that have already been done. So many people have also said that this is yet another act on part of the government to put additional pressure on the Rana couple. This after the arrest was made, after they had said that they would be chanting or reciting the Hanuman Chalisa outside the residence of Uddhav Thackeray, that is Matoshri in Bandra. But for now, Navneet Rana has been set free. Her bail has been granted. The paper formalities are all complete, but the bail has been granted, Preeti, on certain conditions, and that conditions it says that there cannot be any reciprocal of the protest yet again. Otherwise, it will be all the bail conditions will be negated. She cannot talk to the media about this very issue, and that she has to be present in front of the police for any further investigation, and that a prior notice of around 24 hours will be given to us. So there are strict conditions that have been imposed in front of the Rana couple. As far as Navneet Rana's husband, Ravi Rana, is concerned, he is lodged in the Thackeray jail, which is in the satellite town of Mumbai, in Navi Mumbai, and the bail order papers have reached the jail as well, and he could also be out anytime from the Thackeray jail. But I was at the Byculla jail here, and Navneet Rana, the independent member of parliament from Amravati, has now been released. And when she stepped out in her car, she had her hands folded. She did not say anything because the bail order also says that she cannot interact with the media at all. But right now, her lawyers maintain that her health condition is not good. In fact, they say that her health condition has deteriorated over the days inside the Byculla jail, and that she will be straight heading towards Lilavati Hospital, because right now she's got high BP, she has chest pain, she's got body pain as well, and she's already done her CT scan in the JJ Hospital, and only after the preliminary round of checkup that is done, and okay is given by the doctors here at the Lilavati Hospital, that she will proceed to her residence in Khar. Preeti.
All right, so she's going to the hospital because she says she has a few medical conditions that she needs to sort out. She cannot speak to the press. All she's doing is folding her hands, and you can see that on your television screen. Pankaj, will you take us through the trajectory of how, it all went down? Navneet Rana threatening to sing or chant the Hanuman Chalisa outside the residence of the Chief Minister, then being slapped with something as preposterous as a sedition case, spending days in jail. After that, now finally, bail came in 2 days ago, but had to spend 2 extra days. Take us through, the trajectory of Navneet Rana, and, now with her going to the hospital, but in all probabilities facing the ire of the BMC, which many say is punitive.
Yes, absolutely. Preeti, on 23rd of April, after the showdown that really happened outside her residence in Khar, wherein hundreds of Shiv Sainiks had joined the protest and in fact had broken the barricades that had been laid down by the Mumbai police and had even tried to enter the premises of the Ranas in Khar. After those developments in the evening time, the Rana couple were arrested by the Khar police. On 24th, it was a Sunday, so the couple were produced in the holiday court in Bandra, and they were remanded to judicial custody till 6th of May. And it was on the 29th of April that the Mumbai police filed their reply against the bail plea. And the basic argument of the police was that the criticism that was posed by the Ranas was not reasonable. And that it cannot come under the reading of freedom of speech and expression. On the other hand, the Rana couple has said that in the last moment they had cancelled their protest. One. Secondly, they had not even stepped out of their house. Two. And that they were just seeking populist sentiment. They were playing on the populist sentiment at that point of time, and that they did not incite any violence, and they were not provoking anybody. And as such, I also said that the state government cannot be so hypersensitive to the criticism. But interesting developments took place before the arrest on 23rd of April, when in the independent MP from Amravati, Navneet Rana, and her MLA husband Ravi Rana had said that they give a challenge to the state chief minister Uddhav Thackeray, and that come what may, they would recite the Hanuman Chalisa outside the residence of Uddhav Thackeray in Bandra. That is Matushri. We saw the politics that happened after that. The Shiv Sainik said that they take the challenge that has been given out by the Rana couples, and that they in no circumstances they will allow the couple to recite the Hanuman Chalisa. So after that, we saw scores of Shiv Sainiks gathering not just outside Matushri but outside the residence.
All right, I'm going to come right back to you. Stay on with us, Pankaj. Navneet Rana and her husband have been granted bail, but they're not going home where the BMC awaits. They're going to the Lilavati hospital. She says she is ill and she needs to get a thorough checkup. Meanwhile, cutting